page 187, it says, capoeira societies, while not overtly aimed at overthrowing the slave system, should be understood as an equally powerful and probably more viable form of social resistance, in claiming reflexive honor and enacting constant defiance of white control. Capoeiras were able to claim honor through their membership in and propriety over a collective, in their performative display, in their vengeance of impugned honor, and in their refusal to acknowledge white claims of superiority. Before I continue, remember, I'm not a capoeira. This is just one of many examples of how it is really common sense, that they're dishonorable, cowardly bitches, and there's no honor to be gained in pretending that I'm not the best. Going to page 193, just read the highlighted parts real quickly. The numerous cases of light wounding with blades reported in the Brazil police records suggest that African capoeiras may have drawn from a similar sense of honor. So they're just wounding the victims rather than stabbing them to death, because the punishment, must fit the crime. In some cases, then, it is likely that rather than trying to kill their victims, capoeiras went only as far as drawing blood to satisfy their impugned honor. Similar ritual codes appeared to have regulated conflicts between two groups of capoeiras that were settled in group battles or single combat. It goes on to say, Philo notes that the challenge between capoeira societies was announced by bell rings in church towers. It goes on to say, in other cases over contested respect between societies, the larger umbrella organization linking local capoeira societies would intervene, and such conflicts would be settled through ritual dueling between their respective chiefs. It goes on to say, the fact that both sides could share the outcome again highlights the fact that through the very act of showing bravery in single combat, the two society leaders retained the honor of their respective societies. So they didn't get honor by pretending something isn't going on. They're like, look, the white man's newspapers aren't, talking about this, that, and the other thing. It's like, yes, we know this is going on, and we're going to look like bitches pretending that we didn't. Traditionally, our martial arts schools are interested in, what are we interested in? Are we interested in the chess? Bagman. Oh, yeah, right. So we keep our ear to the street when it comes to martial arts. And you see that even in the Ip Man movies, right? These martial artist guys were peeping what's going on in the world. So, no, they don't have an excuse. I reject their sniveling, poor excuses for excuses. Given the gender imbalances, a capoeira's personal honor was likely extended to defending romantic interests from potential rivals. Studies of the honor systems of pastoral African males have shown that relative to European honor systems, they were not focused on control over female sexuality. So what this is saying is, yes, there was a focus on it, generally speaking, but relative to the white man's obsessive eugenic ideas, they weren't really concerned with controlling female sexuality. So you can imagine how, from their own perspective, martial arts, includes their propaganda and mind control and control over female, sexuality by controlling their perceptions of, what a sexy man is and so on. Page 195, second and third paragraphs. While available data do not indicate how the growing numbers of free people of color in white capoeiras in the later half of this century conceptualized the relationship to whiteness or the Brazilian power structure, it is clear that in the first half of the century, the honor of bonded capoeiras was additionally connected to their defiance of racial hierarchies. For this reason, many bondsmen may have looked up to the capoeiras as symbols of pride in relationship to their common oppressors. Capoeiras in Rio exhibited this pride through their brandishing of weapons, through their defiant words, and in their intimidation of white citizens. The use of knives by capoeiras was in direct defiance to be relegated to a lower status, since the law allowed only white Brazilians to carry knives and other weapons. Few European immigrants were brought in for this crime, although Portuguese often wore knives and dueled with them as badges of honor in Rio. Thus, in their possession and frequent brandishing of knives, the capoeiras of color were defying white pretensions to a monopoly on honor. So this paragraph explores how they were defying the racial hierarchies, ideas of racial supremacy, which included these races having a superior sense of honor. And as you see with my challenge, time has proven that they actually have an inferior sense of honor and morality. Capoeiras also denied white supremacy through their words and actions during the first half of the 19th century. When the enslaved capoeira Graciano was arrested in 1836, police noted that he brazenly declared to his captors various times that he was bent on taking away the boldness of whites. Through such challenges and threats, capoeiras verbally brought whites down from their pedestal of superiority and claimed the streets as their social space in which they were the masters. They physically enacted this mastery over the streets through their intimidation of the white citizenry. Well-known capoeiras could profit from their infamy, as depicted in the character of Chica Juca, who gained a reputation as a hired tough who would avenge any imagined insults with violence. From this he profited. There were no tavern owners that would extend him credit and didn't treat him well. I'll end it there. So in this paragraph, it makes it clear, okay, that there was these challenges. Martial arts challenges are something that whites historically look for in blacks, and they label blacks uppity Negroes for doing such challenges. So we see that there's a history of that, and that this is a way to historically challenge white supremacy and ideas of being more civilized and more intelligent, and having the intelligence to understand why honor is important. Being civilized and having honor in many ways go hand in hand. So when you look at this thing for what it is, yes, they are shrinking from my challenge, and it does destroy their narratives of white supremacy during a very racist time in this country's history. Thank you. Bottom of page 173. Such inverted kicks would have been central to potential spiritual symbolism of the art in the 18th century. Even though the following century may have witnessed the passing of any conscious connections between inverted kicks and drawing on spiritual power, So once you connect the secret societies, the fighting for honor, the drawing on spiritual power, the 15 witnesses to the gang stalking, the fact that I have martial artists on record gang stalking me, prank calling my phone for no apparent reason at all, slipping up and leaving their number on my caller ID. Okay? One quickly comes to the conclusion that yes, I am the top. And the secret society, martial arts structure of America has acknowledged it through their actions. And yes, it means I have more spiritual power. I know how to more effectively draw on spiritual power to defeat my enemies. So fuck you very much. I'll be doing it my way. You insignificant, soulless, spiritual bottom feeders. Fuck you. Let me ask this rhetorical question. In the absence of a compelling reason to see it any other way, bombarded by lies and pussies that avoid the argument, is not my conclusion extremely logical, based on historical facts, higher reason, critical thinking, and frankly common sense? I am the top martial artist in America. I have challenged my oppressors, and I'm being persecuted for my political views. For 5 years, my very existence disproves white supremacy in the most effective and traditional way man has ever seen.
Thank you.